He kōna ipurangi tēnei nā te reo irirangi o Aotearoa.
Kia ora, Pelina Lau here from Culture 101. Every Sunday, just after 1:30, one of our regular reviewers checks out the latest on the big screen. This week, Dan Slevin is looking at Little Brother, Jackass, Best and Last, and Lollipop. Kia ora, Dan.
Hello there, how are you?
Good, thank you. Great to have you in, as always. Okay, I'm not going to lie, I was a bit surprised to see the first one on your list this week. This is Jackass. This is in cinemas at the moment. Best and Last, directed by Jeff Tremaine. Now, there's been a ton of movies and TV shows. The team are supposedly signing off with a final visit to the cinemas, and it's been 26 years of this group. The buffoonery, the reckless, dangerous stunts, all of that you may remember, nudity. But has there been any maturity? We're about to find out, but let's have a listen to a clip.
Can someone go get the shot collar for your penis? Poopy said he wants to try it.
I didn't say, but I will. Hi, I'm Poopy.
Oh! I'm sorry, Poopies. I'm sorry. One more time.
I'm Poopies, and this is the electric balance beam.
Nice and slow.
I can't even think about anything else but my dick right now.
Ditto.
I thought we would start as we mean to go on this afternoon. That is, I think, probably the definitive introduction to the world of Jackass, the famous television, film and podcast franchise that's been going for so long. That character is Sean McInerney, known as Poopies. He's a relatively new addition to the cast. He's only been in the last couple of feature films, and he undergoes several moments of humiliation with good humour, as everybody does in the Jackass films.
I mean, it's been so many years of this. I am surprised to see them back. Does it still hold? It felt like such a moment in time when they were big.
It was an incredible cultural phenomenon, and cultural and business phenomenon. I ran a movie theatre, owned a movie theatre in the 2000s, the 2000 and aughts, and while the Jackass movies were never really my cup of tea, I absolutely loved the money that they made. They were incredibly popular, often selling out opening weekends. This was in sort of the early days of internet culture, where it was relatively easy to build community around this sort of stuff. And look, there's something about the amiability, the geniality, the friendliness. This is non-toxic male friendship, even though what they get up to is often literally toxic. The love that they have for each other and for the team, I think, really shines through. One of the things that is even more noticeable here in 2026 than it perhaps was at the beginning in 2000 is that this is a boys' club, right? They have one female cast member who, Rachel Wolfson, who doesn't actually participate in any stunts in this particular film. Her purpose is really to kind of be a witness to how much the boys love each other. And I call them boys because they are still boys, even though they're all in their 50s now, or many of them are in their 50s. And because they're in their 50s, a lot of the physical extremes that they used to get up to are unobtainable to them now.
Yeah, this is what I was wondering.
That's right. So the film, the film is a balance between replaying some of their greatest hits, but also some new stunts, and the new stunts seem to be very much reliant on things that were always a part of the franchise, bodily functions, to extreme bodily functions, shall we say, but there's I feel like the balance is a bit out of whack. If you're not comfortable with, and I have to say that while these films all kind of rely on gross out body humour, it's not body positive, if you know what I mean. It's not shaming. It's just saying we're humans and this is what we do, and we. In most of the aspects of our life, we try not to get too close to these things, but we're going to dive right in. And this is clearly not for everybody. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you're not going to pick this up with the last film.
Yeah.
But if you are familiar with these people and you are fond of them and of their relationships with each other, you'll be quite moved, I think, by it. I think that there's something about it really does feel like a last victory lap, if you know what I mean.
A last hurrah for Jackass.
Yeah.
I've been saying Jackass. Maybe it's Jackass.
I think it's Jackass.
Jackass.
Yes, I think
American, isn't it?
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, I'm curious to see if it will be popular. It probably will be. If not for any other reason, then it's the last, like you say, the last victory lap.
Well, you make an interesting point about it being popular, because I do wonder where the best place for this sort of material is now, because when Jackass started, it was on MTV, cable television was the vehicle for it, and then they spun off into movies. That's right. But now I think this sort of ridiculous buffoonery and personal risk-taking probably belongs more on the likes of TikTok or Instagram Reels, and which makes it, I think, easier for those sorts of people to build a following and find an audience, but it's also easier for me to avoid. So on that basis, I'm quite happy.
Okay, that's Jackass, which is in cinemas. And next is Lollipop. Now, this is written and directed by Daisy May Hudson, inspired by Hudson's own experience of being homeless with her family. It's a debut feature as well. It's really about falling through the cracks of an inadequate system. But Posy Sterling plays Molly, a single mum who's just released from a short prison stay, only to find that her mother, who was supposed to be looking after her 2 children, has given them up to social services care. Let's have a listen to a clip.
I'm going to see you in 3 days, okay? I love you.
Love you, Mummy.
I promise you, I'm going to see you very soon. I'm going to give you both a big squeeze.
We've taken everything into consideration, and we believe it's in the best interest of the children to keep them in foster care.
You're telling me, right, I can't look after my children because I've got no money, and then you're going to go and pay someone else to look after them for me, so riddle me that one.
We can't send them home with you if you don't have a home to go to.
You have to just keep trying and keep pushing.
Push where?
Let's play a game.
I need you to play hide and seek. How quick can you get your bag? In 5, in 4.
What are you doing?
Hurry up and get your bag.
You can't do this.
Yes, I can. I'm your mum. No, Ava, run.
I don't want you to get in trouble.
I'm not.
I love you, Mummy.
I love you.
That's an extract from the trailer for the film Lollipop, and the first point I want to make is that this is a relatively quiet weekend for movie releases, and so it's been kind of lean pickings, I think, in terms of finding new releases to talk about. We've got all of the big school holiday films came out and have already become established. We're also in that sort of lull before the film festival turns up, so a lot of the art house stuff is sort of circling and waiting for that event to happen. But sometimes when you're choosing a selection for a segment like this, you find that by surprise, films actually end up in conversation with each other. And that's been very much the case with the 3 films for this afternoon. That Lollipop, on the surface, has absolutely nothing in common with Jackass, and it doesn't, except the fact that it's being released in the same weekend. And Jackass is a film that is all about men and what they get up to and their friendship. And Lollipop has no adult men in it at all. There's a complete absence of male figures in it, and even in terms of the representatives of the government and the social services and what you might call a patriarchal structure that prevents Molly from being able to reunite with her kids. those rules are being enforced by women social workers or women lawyers or women judges. And I found myself watching Lollipop and thinking, where are the men in this? Where are the fathers of her children? Where are they off doing what the people in Jackass are doing, is just whacking themselves in the nuts with mallets? Maybe that's what the difference between the male experience of the world and an ultimately much more responsible female experience of the world. Lollipop is based on the true story of Daisy Mae Hudson, who's the writer and director of this film, who, when she was in her early 20s at university, her single mother and her sister were made homeless when the house that they lived in Essex in England was demolished to make way for a new retail development. And of course, with no savings, no backstop, they had no ability to get together a bond or a deposit on another rental. They went to the local council for support and found themselves on a long waiting list. They were eventually able to be housed in a hostel, two rooms in a hostel for 3 people. And Daisy Mae documented this on her camcorder and made a very well-regarded documentary about it. And she's now turned that story into, I think, a really, really moving feature film about the pressures and the fact that the structures of society are stacked against people getting out of difficulties that they had no. I was about to say they had no responsibility getting into them in the first place, but Molly unfortunately does, because she has just come out of 4 months in prison, and the powers that be have decided that because she was in prison, she was voluntarily made homeless, and therefore she doesn't deserve a place on the housing list and can't reunite with her kids. It's a real. If you're into kind of British dramas like people like Mike Leigh or Ken Loach, you'll really appreciate this. But I think the fact that it's so female focused and so focused on Posy Sterling as an actor, I think is what really makes it stand out.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, it's if you're in a lot of those sort of class-based stories, right, from the UK, the British ones. When you say Mike Leigh, that's what sort of springs to mind, an analysis of that system. And
that's right.
Yeah,
but in this case, I just finished, I guess, by saying that in this case, it doesn't treat the rules as being unnecessarily totally unreasonable. Like it's not as if you want to overturn society when you watch it. You're just rooting for her, Molly, played by the wonderful Posy Sterling, to somehow get her life together so that she can work within the rules and get her kids back.
Okay. That is Lollipop, which is out in cinemas now. And also, your last on your list is Little Brother. Now, this is a Netflix comedy by Matt Spicer, and it's John Cena who stars in this movie as a real estate agent frustrated at living in the shadow of his billionaire brother, whose life is disrupted by the return of the troubled young man he mentored while he was in college. Here's a clip.
One of my foster dads got ripped one night, put me in an old washing machine, then rolled it down a hill. I got a huge dent up here. It's like a cup holder.
Oh, my God. You have been through so much. Do you have somewhere that you can stay until you get back on your feet?
Not really, but when you're a foster kid, you get pretty used to making a home out of wherever you can find it.
But you're not a foster kid. You're like 40.
Maybe you can stay with us for a night or two.
That's a fantastic idea.
Could you give us a minute, please?
Sure. I love their energy.
What are you doing? That's not a puppy from a kill shelter, okay?
He obviously doesn't have anyone else to turn to. Besides, he drove all the way here to see you.
Yeah, that's not a red flag for you.
Well, what are we supposed to do? He's got nowhere else to go. I mean, before we know it, he'll be renting out each of his holes just to afford a motel room.
Babe, I hear you, okay? But the timing on this could be worse. I start shooting tomorrow.
Come on. It's only for one night.
One night.
Relax, okay? Take a deep breath.
Thank God! That is a wrap on Catheter Zeta-Jones. Whew, that actually cleared my sinuses.
And that is one of 2 Catherine Zeta-Jones films jokes in Little Brother, which is 2 more than you would normally get, I think, on that basis. It's a Netflix movie. It is a real sort of odd couple. John Cena, the wrestler turned actor who I really love, is doing what he does best, which is playing low status. Eric Andre, who I was not very familiar with apart from as a sort of meme, an African-American actor improvising his way through as the sort of the stone in his shoe, if you like. What I really, it's terrifically sentimental. I was really moved by Little Brother, but it's very hard for me to recommend to people because, first of all, it's R16. It's a very, very crude adult humour, the kind that John Cena, a lot of his films have specialised in, and Eric Andre as well. And so, well, it's definitely not for kids. It's definitely restricted, should be restricted when it comes to Netflix. But it's also, there are a lot of adults who I know, I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm a total prude, but I really struggle with really gross out adult sexual humour, and I can't. There's so many people I can't recommend this to because I know that they won't get it, even though the film has quite a big heart. And I feel like I'm completely out of step with this aspect of modern culture, I'm afraid.
Okay, well, if you dare, Little Brother, which is on Netflix, that is R16. Okay, thank you for your recommendations this week, Dan. Dan Slevin there.
Always a pleasure.
For the big screen, recommending Jackass, Lollipop, which are both in cinemas, and Netflix's Little Brother.